years ago. Oh, yeah. He's like, keep your head down. Saturday, Sunday. There's two that I know.
She had to have it told away from start to have these things a lot worse than what it was.
I talked to her.
And she said she paid over $700. I mean, well, why can't we do it?
Everybody's the biggest one. Marty?
Who's this? The mechanic on Washington Street. You know where the break is. When you go past that, as you're heading east, it's on the left. Well, what's the other one over there? Not Daybreak. It's the Morning Star.
Right, the Morning Star Mission. When you go past that as you're heading east, it's on the left, right against the railroad tracks.
Oh, yeah, okay.
He's no good. Oh, it's horrible. What he does is he takes...
As long as it's not below the coat.
Somebody.
Oh, I've got it now. Well, it's not the flu, but I don't know what it is. I had a flu shot and pneumonia shot. I've been fighting this for 4 days and it's full blown today.
Thank you.
You can't hear anyway.
Jan?
Yeah.
I think we're ready. Hi, Pat.
Okay.
How you doing?
Good.
All right.
Welcome. This is the pre-council meeting for the City of Joliet City Council on Monday, February 4th, with Mayor Bob Odekirk presiding.
We begin with roll call. Mayor Odekirk.
Here.
Councilman Dickinson.
Here?
Councilwoman Gavin.
Here.
Councilman Girl.
Here?
Councilman Hug.
Here.
Councilman Morris.
Here.
Councilman Mudrin.
Here.
Councilwoman Coleman. Here. Councilman Turk.
Here.
First is citizens to be heard on agenda items. Is there anyone present that would like to speak on an agenda item this evening? Seeing none, we'll pass it to the city manager to discuss the items on tomorrow's agenda.
Okay, I'll run through the agenda for tomorrow. First is a proclamation honoring the Joliet Ravens junior varsity team for winning the Hall of Fame World Championship in Canton, Ohio in December. CTIS and Public Service will provide their respective reports. There are 5 items on the consent agenda: approval of minutes, 3 payrolls, and position vacancies. And I just want to point out on position vacancies, there are 22 internship/part-time summer help positions on there. So, public hearings. The first one is Council Memo 46-19, annexation of 52.1 acres. I request to table this to March 19th of 2019. There's Council Memo 47-19, public hearing for and request for approval of an ordinance establishing the 2019 Joliet Special Service Area Number 1. The proposed improvements for Logan Avenue include storm sewer extensions, curb and gutter, concrete driveway aprons, and complete roadway reconstruction. The property owners were notified of tomorrow's public hearing. Under ordinances and resolutions, ordinances, Council Memo 49-19, ordinance to set a revised date and time for and approve a public notice of a public hearing for the Silver Cross Tax Increment Financing District Eligibility Study and Redevelopment Plan and Project. Upon passage of the ordinance, the revised date and time of the public hearing will be on April 2nd at 6:30, with an anticipated placement on the April 16th agenda. Council Memo 50-19, ordinance approving a vacation of a 14-foot by 99-foot portion and a 7-foot by 66-foot portion of an unimproved alley located adjacent to 1209 Edge Hill Avenue. No one appeared in opposition at the Plan Commission meeting. And just so council's aware, we will not record the ordinance until the appraisal fee and appraisal value is paid. Council Memo 51-19, ordinance amending the 2019 annual budget for the purchase of snowplows roadways division. This is actually not for plow trucks, but rather the plow blades and frames. We do not have any spare plow blades in the event of damage to an existing plow blade. So I'm going to give you probably a more in-depth report on this tomorrow during the city manager report. I observed firsthand our plow operations a week ago, Sunday night into Monday, and I also was able to observe the conditions of our fleet of snowplows firsthand, which you'll have to wait till tomorrow. Council Memo 52-19, ordinance authorizing negotiations for the purchase of and the filing of condemnation proceedings for the property necessary to widen and reconfigure Vetter Road. In December 2017, City Council authorized execution of an IGA with Will County granting the city certain eminent domain powers over parcels on Vetter Road for the anticipated future widening of Vetter Road. Centerpoint has successfully negotiated with most of the property owners for the land necessary for the widening of Vetter Road except for two. This ordinance authorizes the acquisition of the remaining land for the anticipated future widening through eminent domain, and just so council's aware that the caveat is still out there that the two remaining property owners can still negotiate, while this proceeding is going on. And Carl Buck is here if you have any questions. Okay, next is Council Memo 53-19, ordinance amending ordinance number 17194, regulating development and special flood hazard areas. The city has been appealing the flood maps since 2009, but we have run out of technical appeals, and we are required to adopt the new floodplain maps. So I'm going to read you a portion of the FEMA correspondence, which is in your packet. The City of Joliet must adopt floodplain management measures to avoid suspension from the National Flood Insurance Program, NFIP. If suspended, your community becomes ineligible for flood insurance through the NFIP. New insurance policies cannot be sold, and existing policies cannot be renewed. So along the same lines, I'm going to skip to Council Memo 61-19, request for authorization to award a professional services contract to Rempe Sharp for the Downtown Floodplain Levee Floodwall Design Project 2019. So I'm going to summarize the issue that you're probably already aware of, but in the event the City of Joliet or upstream on the Des Plaines River watershed receives a heavy enough rainfall and, simultaneously, both the lock and dam and spillways at Brandon Road fail, the possibility, I guess, exists that water could back up in the I&M Canal north of downtown by the Joliet Ironworks historical site. This has never happened, even during the very heavy rains the city received in the summer of 1987 and again in 1996. As I mentioned previously, Joliet has exhausted their technical appeals, so just so council and the public is aware, we are now tackling this issue on two fronts. First, the award of a contract for the possible construction of a floodplain levee. If the city does construct a levee on the Joliet Ironworks historical site, basically between the railroad tracks just north of Illinois 53, then north along the I&M Canal, behind the Joliet Prison, up to the next set of tracks, then the city could submit a request for a revised floodplain map, thus removing the almost 700 parcels from being in a floodplain. Prior to construction, of course, the city would have to have the assurances that construction of the levee would, in fact, remove the parcels from being in a floodplain. The second plan of attack has just started with the assistance of the Will County Governmental League. We are seeking assistance of our local legislators for what I'm going to call a political appeal and for grant funds. This is ongoing. We are currently working on draft correspondence to the United States Army Corps of Engineers from one of our legislators to assist. Any questions?
Yeah, Marty, I know Jim Trizzy, you've been working on this for many years. So thank you for the effort here, and hopefully we can get something accomplished on this.
Yeah, I mean, bottom line is, when we first called into this in 2009, Scott and I almost had a baby. Scott the answer. She's engineers in my area, and following him and all the floodplain work. And we called the folks in from Illinois Water Surveyor, came up with these revised maps, and we said, what's going on? You know, I said, Scott and I both were here in 1996. That was an event that was a 150-year to 200-year event, way beyond the 100-year event. The 100-year event was 1981. I was working out in Nebraska, and I wasn't here. But that was 8.1 inches in 24 hours. The event in 96, based on what part of Joliet you're in, the farther east you were, was a little bit less water, but it was anywhere from about 9.5 inches to 12 inches in a 24-hour period. So that was, like I said, beyond the 100-year event. We explained to these folks, we never had issue in our downtown. You know, we had issues by the areas that are currently in floodplain, Spring and Hickory Creek, which, you know, people built homes there way before you knew what floodplains were. The same, that's an early part of the city growth in the 1800s. But we said we never had a problem here. The flood walls do a tremendous job. Corps of Engineers operates the lock and dam. Well, it's not kind of precipitous that the Corps would not really take responsibility in case they weren't able to operate the lock and dam system. And that's when it all started. So they could eventually back up the basic water. What they're saying is back up in the I-N Canal, get out of the I-N Canal, because there's sections of the terrain, the elevation, the ground by the I-N Canal that might not be high enough. And water basically try to get back into Hickory Creek. And so it worked its way back south through parts of downtown. And actually some of the areas just east of the elevated tracks downtown, going up towards Eastern Avenue. Some of those areas are also going to go in flood, now would be in the floodplain. The water again would work its way south, try to get in, go south of 80, getting back into Hickory Creek. Hickory Creek outfalls into the Splains River below the lock dam. So, it's like, 25 feet or so below. But, again, we just said that doesn't happen, guys, and, so we did a significant appeal process. We first tried to show them with our storm sewer system, what we had in our downtown area, and those areas we just mentioned, south side of Joliet, just east of downtown. They said you don't have enough inlet capacity, you still flood. We were hoping to say there'd be water flooding in the street, not getting into businesses or homes, but they said you don't have enough inlet capacity. So then we actually hired a separate consultant, which then looked at the elevations along the IM. And at first we said, hey, we think we've got high enough elevations. Well, those aren't certified levees. That was, even though that was the IM Canal was, I think, finished. I think the these articles 1846, something in that nature. So we're talking, 170 years ago roughly, but that hasn't settled enough. I'm joking, but they basically, obviously, the spoil when they excavated the canal, and even though it was compacted down by the mules and stuff pulling barges, that wasn't a certified levee, so it could breach that type of thing. So bottom line is, we run out of technical appeals. We have to adopt this ordinance, otherwise people who are in the floodplain cannot get floodplain insurance. And that's, a couple folks up there I know are insurance people. Mr. Hogg and Mr. Mutter, they understand that program. So we have to do this, but again, we're trying to work with our consultant now. We want to hire our consultant to go and look at a flood remediation project. That's one of the contract awards that Marty mentioned. He would do that, and then he would go back to FEMA and say, if we do this, can we get a conditional letter of map revision that basically says, if you do this project, we would take these properties out of the floodplain. Before we go and actually start putting a shovel in the ground and building something, and then we can't take a chance of expending any construction money and find out by the Corps that that's still not going to be acceptable. These properties will go out of the floodplain. So that's what this roughly $160,000 is for. And so, and the last and third thing is to continue to work with the Corps of Engineers. We started this summer to try to get a 205 grant, and if we get a 205 grant, that could pay for a substantial portion of construction. Can't say exactly how much yet, but it might be anywhere 50 to 80% federal money. So, and it sounds like the city manager said you're going to be working with folks in Congress to try to help us get a grant. So,
Excellent.
that's where we're at in the project, unfortunately.
Thank you.
Jim, aren't you seeing this just as a FEMA money grab, that they don't have enough money, they can't charge any more on the coast where they're having all the losses, and this is going on throughout mid-America, that they need to have more land in the floodplain so they can get more premium, so they can fund the losses they've been having throughout the country?
That could be part of it, I don't wanna get in that kind of discussion.
Mayor,
You said what you think.
no, I wouldn't disagree with that. What I will say this, if I understand too, if we don't put the ordinance together and approve it by the 15th, we'll be in arrears. If I read it correctly, it said that they would remove the community, the city of Joliet from the program. So this is not just to remediate any potential, albeit imagined, flood risk downtown. If we don't dot our i's and cross our t's with FEMA, they're gonna stop the program. Now, what that means is, good luck getting a loan. If you're in any kind of, from a moderate to intermediate to a severe floodplain, and this one, I believe, gets an AE rating, which is severe, you know, and you know, you tried to twist their arms for 10 years, you know, gently, and it didn't work. You used velvet gloves, I get it. You know, we're kind of at their mercy. And those that currently have loans, mortgages on their house, if they lose their flood insurance, those loans can be called in immediately. Those banks will say, unless you can find a very expensive, Pat can attest to this, private company that's willing to take on that risk at an exorbitant price for something that's already been rejected by FEMA's flood program. So this is critical for the whole city. Unfortunately, we have to address it.
Affects the whole city, yes.
Thank you.
It's a priority project, so. All right, next is Council Memo 54-19, ordinance amending the 2019 annual budget for the purchase of an HR payroll system from Tyler Munis. The current HR payroll system from ADP is not meeting the city's needs, and a move to Tyler Munis is in the city's best interest. Long-term, the move will be a cost savings for the city and, in addition, a better payroll system to meet our complicated payroll needs. Under Resolutions, Council Memo 55-19, a resolution authorizing a cost-sharing service agreement with Pace and Centerpoint for bus service on Pace Route 511. Since 2011, Pace has provided bus service from downtown to Centerpoint. The costs for the service are shared between the city and Centerpoint. The service promotes the value of mass transit and supports employment options for those who do not have a car. Council Memo 56-19, resolution authorizing the execution of an economic incentive agreement for Laraway Crossing Business Park Phase 2. Phase 1 is the Route 53 Emerald Drive, and recall IDOT is also requiring some improvements to the intersection of Illinois 53 and Laraway. That would be this part, the Phase 2. And with the exception of staff oversight, the city will not financially contribute to this project. Council Memo 57-19, resolution authorizing execution of an intergovernmental agreement between the County of Will and the City of Joliet for Mills Road and Briggs Street water main improvements and authorization of associated payments. The city and county have cooperated to develop engineering plans and specifications for a Will County project to reconstruct portions of Mills Road and Briggs Street, and there is some impacts on the city, hence the need for the IGA. Council Memo 58-19, resolution approving addendum number 1 to the intergovernmental agreement with the State of Illinois Department of Transportation for the Hobart Road I-80 US Route 6 roadway improvement project. Now that a majority of the Phase 2 design for the Hobart Road reconstruction from I-80 to Route 6 is complete, the cost estimates have become clearer. In summary, this addendum increases the state contribution to $32 million.
It's about a 33% increase from where we were. Is that correct?
Yeah, so we actually thought when they came up with that number that it was probably low. So now that the Phase 2 majority is done, we all, including IDOT, have a better idea of what the project is going to cost, so.
Very good. Mayor?
Yes.
You know, and of course I can cover it tomorrow, but I just want to mention while we're on this topic too, that the, like Marty said, the state is paying for there's no city money going into the into the increase. And I got to give Jim Tristan and his staff credit, not only for getting that done, there's some bending being done by IDOT as far as paying things up front that traditionally could take 2 or 3 years to get back, and we have to front them up. So I just wanted to point it out because it's important to know that it's really no money even temporarily.
Right.
True. Council Memo 59-19, resolution declaring certain City of Joliet property as surplus. Under bids and contracts, the items were reviewed by Public Service Committee earlier this evening. We'll report on any issues during their committee report tomorrow. I already highlighted one, Council Memo 61-19. I'm just going to highlight one more, and that's Council Memo 62-19, request for authorization to approve a professional services agreement for their alternative water source study Phase 2. This, in summary, is for the cost of evaluating 5 alternative water sources for the city of Joliet. As you're aware, the existing groundwater source, Des Plaines River, and Fox River have been eliminated from consideration, leaving Lake Michigan, Kankakee River, and Illinois River as possible options. And that's all I have, unless there are any questions.
Next is public comments. Is there anyone that would like to speak under public comments this evening? I do not believe there is a need for closed session this evening, so is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
A motion is seconded to adjourn. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Meeting adjourned.
I didn't go to the wake yesterday. I'm everything bad. Throat,